Now, although Inkwell works fine for the purposes of creating our own customized buttons, views in this case, there is another component that is commonly used called gesture detector. So this is probably what you're going to be seeing more commonly than the Inkwell. Although you can still use Inkwell, it's supported, as you can see, it works fine. But I'm going to show you the other way of doing the same thing, if you will. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to actually create another class at the bottom here that we're going to be using inside. And I'm going to make this stateless. This is going to be stateless as that. And I'm going to call this custom button as such. Okay, so we have a container being returned there, but what we want to do is actually we want to return a gesture detector as such. Again, you can see gesture detector allows us to pass a lot of different properties and objects. That's what we have with gesture detector, because there's a lot of things we can do. One important thing here is that we can pass the on tap. Notice most of these events are pretty much the same as what we have with Inkwell, although we have a little bit more flexibility here, right? Because we even have the on horizontal drag and so forth. That is the main difference. Inkwell is a simplistic approach to gesture detector. Gesture detector detects more than just taps, double taps, and so forth, as you can see here. Okay, whenever you want a more customizable or a more extensible way of generating your own customized buttons, views that can be clicked and so forth, you would use gesture detector as you see here, right? Because you can even drag things down and do all sort of things. So we're gonna go simple at this time. So on tap. So on tap again, this is where we're gonna have a function. In fact, we can actually write our own inside like this, right? Instead of having a function that we write at a class level, we can pass inside here as well. So for instance, here we can actually put some code. For instance, we say we want to invoke a snack bar. A snack bar is another widget that shows up at the bottom. Okay, so we'll show you in a second here. In this case here, let's say on tap, I want a snack bar to show. So what I'm going to do, I can go ahead and say, for instance, final and say snack bar, and I'm going to instantiate it. Snack bar as such. Now to instantiate snack bar, we need to pass something to it, right? We need to pass what's called the content. Of course, we can pass background, elevation, all sort of things. I hope you're starting to see a theme here, a running theme of our objects or widgets. Object, widgets, components, same thing. Okay, it's that every time we initiate or instantiate one, it gives us the options of adding all sort of things inside of it. And so in this case here, I'm just going to go and pass it a content, which is going to be a text that just says hello again, because I don't have anything else to say at this point. Okay, and for a snack bar to actually be shown, we have to use a scaffold. So I'm going to say scaffold object, and I'm going to pass of context here. So the context is what we are passing here. Now, what is context? Well, context is this object that knows a lot about how the tree of our user interface is being rendered. Okay, so context will know, for instance, okay, how many pixels are left after we put 10 items on the screen. It will know exactly, okay, when we move this item to the left, how are we going to redraw the whole screen to make everything look good, in a sense. Okay, so it knows more than that. Of course, think of this object as the know-it-all object when it comes to Flutter. That's why we're passing inside of a scaffold instantiation here to say that we're passing the context. So the scaffold here knows exactly how to rearrange and put the snack bar on the screen. And then I'm going to say show snack bar. There is that method there, which then we pass our snack bar like that. Let's just copy and pass that one there. Very good. And now that I have done my on tap, so on tap, I'm going to just have a snack bar pop up from the bottom of the screen with a text that says hello again. Now, what's important here, of course, is that because it's just a widget, we have this child where we can pass in any type of widget that we want. Okay, in this case, I'm going to just go ahead and pass a container because I want to make sure that I create a nice button per se. In this case here, I'm going to pass a padding. And for padding, you can go ahead and use edge insets here. In this case here, I'm just going to go and put some sort of padding around the entire container. And here I can pass 10.0. It has to be doubled. Okay, to say around the entire container, I'm going to have padding of about 10 units. Okay, and then I can pass decoration here, box decoration. Now this sounds like, oh my goodness, it's a lot of things. Just think of this as all these little tools that Flutter has for us to use. Okay, we want to decorate what? Our container. We use box decoration. So in this case here, box decoration takes in all sort of things. And look at this, it helps us know what exactly we need to pass in order for this to work. Okay, so in this case here, I'm going to pass the color for our decoration here. 1 comma too many. For now, I'm just say colors dot, and let's give it a pink accent like that. And then I'm going to pass a border radius. In this case, I'm just going to say I want a border radius to be circular, and I'm going to pass the radius of this circle. Now, because I am inside of a container, I also am still allowed to pass the child property here. In this case, I'm just going to go ahead and just put a text that says button like this. Okay, so we have now created an actual custom button here. What we did, we passed a gesture detector, and we have on tap, the simplistic one. And what we want to do on tap, we just want to create a new snack bar, and it will just say hello again. And to actually show that snack bar, we have to go through scaffold class and pass in the context, the know-it-all object, and invoke the show snack bar, and then pass the snack bar that we created there. That's all. Okay. And of course here we have our child, we pass in a container, and we do all this customization here. We use box decoration and pass a few properties. Notice we have many other properties we can pass, but most of them are optional. Okay, so color and border radius are the most common ones, or the most important ones at this point. Okay, and of course, because we're inside our container, we said, well, for a child, so what is it that we're going to see written? It's going to be button. Okay, now that we have this, we can actually call our custom button somewhere. Where? Well, I can come here, for instance, we have our inkwell. I can come down here and comment all of this out, and just pass our custom button like this. And voila. If I go back here, you notice we have that awesome custom button. Look at this. This is what we created. If I tap on that, it says hello again. And seconds later, this should go away like that. And that's how a snack bar works. Okay, so tap, it says hello again, and seconds later, go away. And we can change the background color of our snack bar, right? If we go back to our code here, so I can come here and say background color, say colors, and let's give that amber there and add some nice shade as well. So save this. If you click, look at this. Hello again. And it's working perfectly. Very good. As you can see here, we could have done the same thing using Inkwell as I showed you earlier. Very much so, because we just use OnTap event, and that's the event that Inkwell does well as well. Okay, so the bottom line here is that you use Inkwell when you don't want to do the drag left and right and all sort of things, right? Because as we've just learned, gesture detector, as the name implies, it invokes more than just tap, right? More than just long press, more than just tap. It has gesture detection and many other events that we can listen to. So if you just want to do a very simple button, it's okay to use Inkwell. But if you want more than just on tap, just go ahead and use gesture detector. And just like that, you were able to create your first custom button. So this is the concept here. Now, usually what you would do, you would probably create this class and put in a different folder or a different file. That way you have all of your custom code in a different file and then call them in your code like this. Okay, this is just an example. You could do this as well. That's not a problem. But just in terms of organization, when your projects are getting bigger and you want to organize better, you would probably put that in a different file or a different folder somewhere. That way all of your custom code is in one place. Very nice. So what I want you to do is to perhaps create an even better version of the custom button. Go online and look for material buttons and see if you can actually customize yourself. Now, keep in mind that Flutter actually has a lot of amazing buttons that are pre-baked and ready for us to use. However, as you will realize, there are times when you want to actually bake your own custom things. This is when gesture detector and or Inkwell come handy. All right, so go ahead and make amazing custom buttons, and I'll see you in the next video.